Henry. I know it says Carol, but you know, if you want to share with us.
Carol is, yeah, you're great. You can sit down. I'm just going to do a quick introduction. First of all, welcome and good morning. Anybody that doesn't know me knows that I'm a newly elected county commissioner. Along with President Tim, sitting up here to give us a little bit of a break this morning. I'm still learning some of the ropes. I also want to introduce a new council woman, I guess, newly elected to Fountain County. She's sitting in on our meeting this morning. They had their first meeting last week. So she's learning the ropes also. So I appreciate everybody being here this morning, and we'll make this go efficiently as we can.
Okay, Carol Freeze, the county historian, sick. I'm Henry Schmidt. I'm the chairman of the Fountain County Arts Council Historic Committee. I have with me Jim Hayden, the president of the Arts Council. We're here to talk about the Cades Mill Covered Bridge. First of all, I want to thank the county for the November for all the tree removal, drainage work, and riprap. It looks very good down there.
Rusty said it was about $40,000 worth of material and labor.
I believe that was quite a project, so thank you very much. We have looked at several inspections, different engineering thoughts, and we have sent a letter of intent, we haven't signed a contract, but a letter of intent to work with CLR out of Bloomington, Indiana. And this would be about to do the undercord, the flooring, replace some of the siding, work on the portals, and paint it would be about $405,000. So it's much higher than we thought. So we're gonna have a big fundraising to get more money. So first of all, we want to be sure the new commissioners are on board that we do this work. We have your approval to go ahead and collect money and then do the restoration of the Cades Mill Covered Bridge.
And you said you got several quotes from CLR.
And we had another one,
Okay. And so that was probably a bit higher than.
yes. On that one.
Do you have the roof figured in that?
No,
Because the roof flew off and now it's back down. So that's it, yeah.
there have to be some additional money. That's why I hope. We have the project in phases, the undercord and the flooring is like 300,000. And that we may have to stop there before we do the siding
Right.
and the painting to repair the roof. And then go on from there. It's all dependent on how much money we collect. So we need some kind of either copy of the minutes or a letter saying we can do this project on behalf of the county and the taxpayers of Fountain County. That way, when we go to major donors, they know that we're working along with the county and doing this project.
I think in the past, I think they were wanting some input from the council on if we were asked to input any funds, council really would like to be involved. Is that correct, Tim?
Yes. Yeah, obviously, if there's any money, council would have to be involved, so. You feel pretty good about grants and things? You can raise this much in there, or?
Well, we already think we got 150 in grants coming and donations, but that's like about a third of what we need. So that's why we've been working on special letters to people we think could be major donors a mass mailing to people, the small donors. And that's why we've only sent a letter of intent to CLR.
Okay.
We can't sign a contract till we have at least probably 300,000 in the bank to be able to do phase 2, the underfloor and the flooring.
Yeah, this is probably 3 times more than the original
Yeah, but
bid.
Dan Collin threw out a number,
Right.
150,000, but we haven't been able to get him to ever put anything in writing or whatever. And we do have a proposal, very detailed proposal on the cost of, from the labor to the material to the setup to, they would have, the firm CLR has done 17 other covered bridges in the last 20 years in Indiana. So they're not some fly-by-night. They have offices
Right.
both in Bloomington and Vincennes.
Well, I personally, and I know the other commissioners probably do too, in the council, appreciate everything you guys have ever done for this county. A lot of you are not even from this county. You wasn't raised here, and you do all this great work. Thing, unfortunately, we have to look at, 150,000 versus 400,000. How much did the state cut from us this year, Rusty, out of our highway budget?
880,000.
We can't even keep up with the current bridges and bridges. I mean, so I'm all for, if you guys can get this 405,000, I'm all for it. As far as the county kicking anything in, that would be a council decision in the end. I mean, I'm sure if you make, good effort and get close to help a little bit, but
I
We're not
understand
here
you want
to
your
have-
backing.
Yeah, we're not here to ask for any money today. We're just here to have your approval so we can go out to the.
I'll make that motion to
And I can second that.
go back to the.
And once again, thank you for all the work that's been done. We appreciate that.
All those in favor?
Well, one of the things that's important is, if this is going to be paid purely from fundraising that the Historical Society is raising, it needs to stay from that pay source, because the minute the public tax dollars are involved, then that opens up all of the public bidding laws. So you wouldn't be able to just pick a contractor. You would have to bid it.
We understand that, because we reviewed what would be involved with having the engineering study and the public bidding, and then consulting other people have done it, like Grable, Indiana, and a couple other places. It usually increases the cost. Now, it does open some state and federal grants, but it's much longer timing, and that's why we thought we would try the private route first. And if that don't, that's like I said, we have not signed any contracts, just that our intent is to work with CLR.
There are a lot of giving people in Fountain County, and people who were raised in Fountain County. Covered bridge in Attica, $50,000 donation
That's right.
came out of the air, just no one else who gave it. It's been a secret ever since, but then the murals, guy from Beaversburg, who graduated from Fountain Central, attorney in Chicago, his company sent, I think, 75,000 for them.
Well, in our mailing, we're gonna contact over 600 people, so.
Thank you very much.
Now, on the, one, if we do get the money and then are about to sign a contract, I imagine the county attorney would want to review the contract. Is that correct, or?
And if the commissioners ask me to,
Okay.
I think that's probably the difference between public money and the private money, is where he's coming from on.
Yeah, it-
Like that.
it really depends on the nature of the deal. You know, it would be,
But Kent would be ultimately protecting us.
Right.
I would be reviewing it for the county's interests, not the historical society's.
Right,
That's right.
right, we understand
Will, donation be tax deductible?
that. Yeah, it will go through the Western Indiana Foundation, that's tax deductible, plus the Arts Council's a 501c. That's why we're doing it through the Fountain County Arts Council Historic Committee, because they're a 501c, but the money, so it isn't, you know, you can't say, well, you may be shifting money to something else. The money that goes to the foundation, and that's where the foundation letter says send it, will always just be for the covered bridge.
Yeah, sure.
Another thing we were wondering, can we put a wooden thermometer sign on the southeast corner of the courthouse? It'd be 8 feet tall, 2 feet wide, and show how our donation collection's going. Like we'd start out like 39,000, and then every 50,000, you know, paint a red line up. It'd be something wood we put in the ground, and when we were done, we'd take out.
Okay, so it's not gonna be attached.
No, it'd be out towards the
Yeah.
clock area.
As long as it's not Rick's Way, you know.
Right.
Yeah, there could be a better one though.
Just so you don't have to know around.
Talk about your Rick.
I was thinking about you.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be fine, and just keep it to where he doesn't have to mow it.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll get some kind of copy of the minutes or a letter saying.
Colleen, if you can get her email and she can get a copy to you. Whether it be signed or if it's signed, it'll have to wait until the next meeting. Otherwise, it'll be about, what, first week of February, she'll have the minutes done.
You need my email address.
I'll write mine down here.
Okay. Jim, do you have anything else I missed? We appreciate the support, and we'll sure try to do our best to get this project moving.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess we'll go on to approval of minutes from our last meeting and I think there's some of
I can make my phone.
All second?
favor.
Aye.
For you. Claims, payroll claims that were sent to everybody.
I'll make a motion to accept payroll claim.
I was second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
For you. December report collections, I'm gonna call it ambulance.
Yeah.
Are we still waiting? I know usually the health department report.
I don't have
All of that later. Okay, so it's just gonna be,
Recorder or even the treasurer.
did you get anything from the sheriff or?
I'm sorry.
What's that?
No, that was council.
Okay,
Here's the sheriff's. And
I think this was a meeting.
I thought the ambulance was in
The ambulance was
there.
health and recorder, we have not received, because I know usually they wait until, they get their bank statements or something. It just was a little different than what I normally see the sheriff's monthly, so it's commissary and everything, but I always see it's monthly. On the, okay, so I guess we'll just do it at this time. And then we have not received the treasurer's bank reconciliation.
I'm here, I can answer to that, I'm here.
Well, the report.
I know, I got a rough draft, but my office hasn't been complete, we got hit
Okay.
by COVID, and she starts today.
Okay,
So, and I've only had maybe 3 hours of training with UMR so far, I'm supposed to have some more tomorrow and on Thursday. And then I spoke with Colleen this morning, I have some questions about the treasure report, there's 3 things on it,
Okay.
and the excise. And she's agreed to come over about
okay,
1:30
well, we can
today.
just put this off and wait until.
But I have a rough draft ready,
'Cause I think-
it looks familiar.
Okay, the council, I think, is kind of in the same position that we are in, you know, with the new transition and everything, we know, we understand that
Yeah.
it's gonna take a little longer to
Thank
get
you.
some of those reports, so we'll just do the ambulance at this time, if that's okay, because the annual financial report that was approved, that was through December, so we did do that. And yes, these other two do kind of tie into that, but they are kind of separate and need a separate motion, I think, just to appease state board accounts. Okay?
All right, I can make a motion, for the report collection for ambulance only.
Okay.
All second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we're ready for our QAW.
which one the commissioners really want to go with and run from it, run with it from there. Have you had a chance to look at these yet?
Yes.
Okay. Have you guys had time to discuss, which one you would like to go with? Or maybe that's why, maybe we can talk today too.
No, I think we were pretty good with the original, and I think Andrew spoke with Chris and you and kind of tweaked a few things that we had kind of talked about.
So the two different things that we have going on, is what we're calling the base bid, which is what the original design, and then this alternate bid that shows the wall in place. You know, ultimately, it was all about funding on our behalf and which direction we wanted to go. And really, until we see those bids, I'm not sure we can make a definite decision. I think the alternate bid is the way we would definitely push for it, assuming that that falls within our budget.
Okay.
Of funds there. So, you know, if we see things coming in high, we would back off and go back to that base bid. But I think in our mind, the alternate is the best of all scenarios, to make that office down there what it needs to be in the future.
I agree. We have, our sister company VW is working on compiling all the information and sending it out to bid. Is there a specific date right now where you're like, this needs to be out to bid on this date?
I think we have another project working behind the scenes that we need to get situated on. I'm not sure that a specific date is in mind for us, opposed to once we get the other half of the project, not associated with the courthouse in general.
Okay.
That we have to get situated with funding and going from there. So I would say give us, probably a month at the minimum, and we'll have a better expectation on that.
Okay, cool. Is that, can I ask, is that an emergency?
Yes,
Can I ask? Okay.
Yes.
it's that project, yes.
Okay. Yeah. 'Cause we could always,
Yeah,
if decide to move forward, we can always coordinate with them.
Right. okay.
What questions do you have for us?
I don't think, I know that we spoke and we were trying to keep it under a certain dollar amount, you know, us here at the county. And I think you guys have worked very well on trying to, you know, ease all of this in that aspect. I know that we did ask for an alternative, you know, to the building that I think would be beneficial, like Andrew said, for the room. Plus, you know, the renovation, you know, for this room here, or two offices that are much needed for HR and medical officer. So, yeah, I think you've nailed everything that we've asked for. I think the hangup's gonna be, what's it gonna cost, because that's what
Right.
everybody's asking.
Right, yeah, understandably, so. Well, as soon as you're ready, we'll put it up to bed, we'll see what the numbers are, we'll come back, reconvene and talk about the best option for the county.
Okay.
If you had any more questions for us, I know I threw a lot at specifically Chris the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
To redo some things, I'm sorry about that, but.
No, it's okay.
What we have on paper now is much more appealing to me than where we started with.
The only thing I can think of is that the steps going from the lobby down into the, we talked about portable ramp.
Yeah, for the ADA access and,
Yeah, for the one or two times you might need it in 10 years.
Yeah,
It
you
made a
know,
lot more sense than because,
we hit on that.
Yeah.
I called him and asked him about that. It was great because we had this room, but we couldn't get down to it, and it's affordable art.
is there access to the lower level from the ground level essentially?
There's a lift, there's a chair lift, there's an elevator.
Oh, okay.
track here.
So it's just from the elevator level down to the lower level floors,
Yeah,
roughly 3 steps?
Purdue Extension for years has been called on that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's no ADA accessible to them, our veterans officers down there right now too.
Yeah.
That room has to be, it is accessible. I mean, no matter how, whichever way it has to be.
Eric immediately, when you guys first came, and that's what I liked about your company, was he immediately said, if we have, for the money we're talking, if we have to make this ADA compliant, redoing all this, you can forget your project, because it's gonna be very expensive.
Yeah.
to do that. He's the one that came up with the portable ramp.
Yeah, okay.
And you have a place to store that too, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then that's a part of the project or the estimate too, is that correct, or?
It can.
I don't think.
For a separate-
I don't think it was a part of it.
It can be separate
Okay.
for our sake.
How long a ramp are they talking on
It
that?
would
I mean, you'd almost go 3/4 of the way through the room if you do it.
It'll be done right. I mean, as far as that, and it could be like a 2-piece ramp. And it'll be removable.
I think it's 2 inches per foot fall on that.
Yeah. They would,
1 to 2,
it would have been about a couple feet from the Purdue Extension door.
Yeah.
A ramp.
You're talking portable, that's, I don't know, I'd have to see what that portable ramp looks like, because that would be hard to even store that.
Yeah.
It'd be something.
Yeah,
to look
just-
into.
yeah.
I mean, and then putting it up, I mean, that's amazing.
Right. I'm sure it will be inexpensive, but, there's materials that can make it out of that are fairly light, sturdy.
You know, that would be nice, I know what Joe's talking about, but it's gotta collapse, and how much it weighs. Are you gonna put it
We
with
can
your
look at
metal?
all that. I mean, 1 or 2 people have to be able to handle it.
Well,
So,
it's probably gonna be 30 feet, probably. 20 feet from the top to down.
It'll get closer to 20, but would be 10 feet per section or
Yeah.
whatever, but it'll,
Just
we'll look at it, we'll get it work.
Yeah, just move the rail over.
Because
Right.
changing that whole stair system,
No,
it's
that's
going to be a nightmare, you can't do it.
Just gotta make sure we got a place to put it.
Yes.
Set it up and down.
And then it's lightweight enough, and, yes, yeah, no problem, we thought about that.
Welcome to old buildings. We
Yeah.
know we can. No one thought about wheelchair check.
I have a question.
Yes.
Could you get an aluminum portable that folds on wheels, if you could transport it on wheels? Do they make such items?
I'm
Does
sure
anybody
they
know?
do. Yeah, I'm sure.
And once we get looking at, I'm sure there are other options too. There might be some type of lifts or something that we can, we'll figure it out. It's not the first, somebody else had this issue.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know we have custom, in this county, we've got some pretty good custom people that can design things. Got some pretty talented people in there that work with that type of material.
I think the point that we're trying to make is we know it's an issue, and I'm not sure we
Yeah.
have a direction we're heading with that issue yet. It just has to be addressed
Correct, yeah,
with this project.
okay. Do you need RQAW to figure out the ramp to work with you to do that? Is that something that
I
you're planning on
don't,
doing outside of this?
yeah, let's just focus on this for now, and then we'll take care of the ramp once we get some numbers based on this.
Something,
I don't wanna deal with the ramp and then this come in crazy over budget,
right.
and then we have a ramp that we don't need, like, that's another.
Okay. What other questions?
Chris and I talked about a couple design features behind the podium there, that can all be addressed later. I think we were both on the same page with the TVs and what we want that back wall to look like.
Looks good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Thank you.
The bids are gonna come in great, I know it.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
I'm not offended if you leave $50 million out of that, but if you want to be.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip down.
Do we
And
have,
we're out before you guys leave. I think we're gonna go ahead and act on, the proposal of $13,000.
The MED proposal? Yes.
so where do you guys, I guess, stand on the original 22?
Yep.
And then there's an additional 13. Is that 35 going to cover what we got?
For architecture and MED design from RQW? We won't go over it.
Okay, I just want to come back, I've already preached for council, and the 35 is a little bit shocking in some areas, for myself and for others, so I just don't want to come back later and say, I told you we had 35, but it's shocking, and come back with another.
No, this is fine. No, we won't. No. That is-
That's on record, right?
Yes. That's what it costs for design fees.
Okay, all right.
I can tell it again.
So I need to,
And do,
and the 22's already been approved.
The 22 was already been approved.
and they originally were not to do the MEP.
Correct.
So this wasn't anything you guys gouged us or anything for, it was, you wasn't what we told you not to do it.
Correct.
We just went a different way, so just so the public knows that, it's not it.
This was a service added after.
Your original. So I just need, a motion, to approve this agreement.
13,000.
Proposal.
I'll make a motion to hold Granite your guns.
I'll second.
Okay. And we'll get a copy of that, calling someone else.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. For dealing with me.
Take care, I'll see you soon.
Bye, thank you.
Okay.
See ya.
Okay, we got a thing here for, communication. We usually, commissioners have a donation line item, so we're requesting yearly donation. I can't remember now what we usually do, 3,000. I just need a,
I'll make the motion for the Mac van. Just, you don't want my thing.
I know. Yes.
3,000. Okay. All those in favor? You don't need to sign anything for it?
I don't think there's anything to sign.
Okay.
We have
Yeah.
community action. 2 weeks from now.
Okay, all right, well, we're still, we have acted on that and everything. The district planning commission, I know we had that on the agenda, the district court oversight, we tabled it. Joe, is there any word on the district planning, are they gonna be meeting?
I
or
think
they're
that is,
still on hold?
I think that's been, I'll let you know if they come up. with something.
Okay. Yeah, just, let Colleen know so that she can put it on
Yeah.
the agenda, for
Yeah,
us to act on.
I don't think as far as the DPC, that we haven't had meetings and the DOC is, I think they're kind of non-resistant.
Okay.
I'm sure, but I don't think.
So no longer.
Yeah, I'll let you know what
Okay.
they decide to start. Districts are really starting to go regional in the state. They're putting like our District 4 is, they're putting them with, 1, 2, I think 1, 2, 3, and 4 is in one region. They got north and south regions.
Within the state.
It pretty much.
Okay. The Cemetery Commission, I know that we had issues on appointing someone to that commission, but I just need a motion. Did you want to say anything, Tim?
Yeah, Bob Shepherd contacted me and said that he would be the president of the cemetery commission. But he's not going to be near as involved as everyone. He said, you know, leaving, he either zoom in or help us in any way possible, but as far as coming to every meeting, he said he would not be doing that, so. I'd make a motion to appoint, Bob Shepherd as the cemetery commission president.
All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
He had also mentioned that they got their storage shed broken into about a year ago, and I saw for sure, and generator, freedom generator. He didn't know, but thought maybe if the county highway had stuff that they were getting rid of or whatever, they'd like to donate or something. Only he could do it out there. He said they'll eventually, most of that stuff is bought with donations, he said. So they'll, you know, try to get it any way they can, but thought if the county did have some things that they were getting rid of, because they just need to do things to keep them in mind. So.
Rusty wasn't looking very generous.
Yes, he is.
Pick that up on that too.
Usually when Rusty.
Is there any role that needs to be played there that Bob can fulfill that Jasper did? Or is that okay?
No, I think everything's okay. Yeah, go ahead and do the hand.
I know we had tabled the pause and pause contract. I haven't received anything. Have you received anything?
Anybody reach out to him?
I did not reach out to him.
I hadn't even.
I think we need to.
I was going to contact another man who used to do it. And the more I looked at their contract and a letter that they'd sent a couple of years ago, it's just not picking up animals. It's the housing of them, it's the spaying, the neutering. The lady who runs that shelter is a veterinarian. When you add all that stuff up, all I want to see is a report from them. How many animals the house are found in? How many were spayed? How many were neutered?
Yeah.
Just a report.
Yeah, and I think that's been asked in the past, and it's like pulling teeth just for them to provide that. And you would think that for the $28,000 that we give them, that would just be an automatic report that they sent to us. We shouldn't have to ask for it.
Right. And one other thing while I'm talking about that. Nowhere in that contract, hey Terry. Yeah. Nowhere in the contract, last contract, I think in 19, we signed with policy clause. It didn't say anything about them picking any animals up. I was just, I know, tell you, I was reading it, I'm like, oh my, maybe I missed right down to a couple of times. But, you know, I know the veterinary, well,
And they're not coming out. We're just wasting $28,000.
yeah, on that, definitely, but if they can prove to us, because I know what it takes to take my little dog to the vet. That would add up pretty quick, even with 50 animals. I mean, so I think we just need to we'll have a talk with them and say, hey, we need to see a report. And maybe there's a different avenue we can take with picking the animals up. I don't know, I don't know the answer.
Well, as far as animal control and everything, what is the county liable to provide?
Let's say that we're if we're contracting out that service, which is common, a lot of counties and cities do that, you don't have the traditional dog catcher anymore.
Right.
It's as a municipal job. We just need to negotiate with them and try to put those terms in. If they, we need to make it contractual. So we need to, I can revise that contract easily with language from similar agreements from some of our other clients and include a reporting requirement with deadlines and trying to define the services that you want for what you're paying.
Well, that's what Colleen and I was talking about, is before she would produce a check to them, they would have to send us a report quarterly.
Yeah, you can quarterly, however you want that to look. You just write it into the proposed agreement.
Another question, are they under contract with the city of Attica as well?
I don't think anymore, I'm not sure.
I'm not, yeah, typically the city of Attica was donating funds, but I think once they moved outside of city limits, that funding, I'm not sure if it totally went away, but it decreased significantly.
I'm just curious because if they're under contract with the city of Attica, is the city of Attica getting any type of report
Yeah,
that you aren't getting?
yeah.
But if they're not contracted, then they're not bound by the terms.
Yeah, I don't know that any of us are here to put shame to what they're doing or not doing. I'm just saying for the money that we're spending, we should at least have a presentation.
Well, and that's kind of what I was needing with the contract with Attica, because if they're reporting to them, they can just turn in the same
Yeah,
report.
yeah. Yeah, I think we need to reach out and maybe revise the contract, what we're looking for, and, put them on the agenda for next meeting and maybe invite.
Did you
Well-
give me that contract? You both,
I think we were together, I gave you a copy of it,
yeah,
yeah.
I can get Ken a copy.
Ken, do you have a copy
I
of
think I
this
do,
on
but-
file?
Yeah, I think I do, but if somebody can just forward to me one more time. Sure.
Yeah, because I think there was some other information in that folder as well on animal control that was a little more in depth.
Right.
It wasn't attached to our contract, that we had some issues years back.
It may make, I mean, the city of Crawfordsville pays about $120,000 to $140,000 for the services that the welfare league provides us. And the county pays on top of that. So it may drive up their costs, but it's a service that you have to provide it.
And the thing with them is I think they're all volunteer up there and it's a mess.
Real quick, I wanted to touch on that spyglass, and I know I gave you an information of the contract, and I did reach out and email to Steve Fisher, I believe. We're ready for that second year, the health check and everything, and we have not paid their invoice. Had some issues with, not with our IT, but IT had issues with Kyle with spyglass, and just the badgering and everything. The fear is, we don't want them to, it's okay to give them our records and everything, or have access to our bills and everything, but they were wanting to change some things that we don't want changed. And in their contract, I think it states that they can change things. I have not seen, and the IT has not seen any savings, with this company. So Steve is aware that I want to bring it up to you, to the other commissioners, and to the IT person as well.
You do have the right to cancel the agreement. There's a surcharge. They'll charge you the average of the last two usage cost statements.
I just haven't seen, and I don't know who needs to get involved in that email, with Steve or talk to him. He was gonna get back with me, but I did include Colleen in on that email over the weekend, just because I didn't feel comfortable moving forward with them.
We can ask them to revise their terms or take out that discretion that they would have to change something.
And if the commissioners don't mind, I was working with Brad because he does help the county a lot with the telephone. And I don't think, the council is really aware of his input and what he does for the county. It's not just the computers, the IT. He does do some extra things that a lot are not aware of, that I relied on when I was auditor for years. Because I don't know what PR line is or this or that. I don't care. you know, I was working with financial stuff. I want to get someone that knows their stuff and can help the county, you know, and not have unnecessary phone lines or whatever. And I think Brad has helped us with that tremendously. So I rely on him more than I would someone else, another company, to advise me on what I need, what the county needs.
Do we have to have spyglass or?
We did have someone in the past, and there again, we were doing a lot of the work in the auditor's office, but yet they would get a cut of, and that's the problem when you contract. Yes, it can be good at times to get some of those companies to do, if you're not gonna do it yourself, but if you have individuals that are willing and know what they're doing, then yes, we can save the county money on our own. Sometimes it gets overwhelming in the auditor's office to have to do all that, and that's why I think we reached out to some of these companies years ago.
Here's where the bills at least, and you have to find out them, and.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
And then the time you spend on the phone with AT&T, you know how that is.
And Brad has done that on the county's behalf as a representative, you know, he's had the authority to there or Gibson telecommunications or Teledata or whatever it is now. So it's
Just,
a lot of phone calls.
you can, you know, if it's cost benefit analysis, if you're getting the value of the service, then, but you can terminate. It's just, you know, there's contractually they're entitled to what they say we owe them.
I mean, they had some good things, you know, it was a one-stop, you know, other departments. I mean, I went through all the work to get that done, but no one was utilizing, you know, product.
So Andrew and I have no clue. What's your recommendation?
Right, there we go, thank you.
I want to talk to Brad some more, and I really would like for Brad and maybe myself and Colleen to talk with Steve and say, what are you offering and what, can you explain to me the savings, because I'm not really seeing it.
Brad?
Yeah.
There we go. There's the voice.
Oh, you're still here?
Yeah,
he's behind me.
What's your recommendation on the spyglass?
Let's sit down and talk to them, have them give us a list, see what they've actually saved us.
You can say it, it's okay.
Nothing is my opinion, but let's, you know,
Okay.
let's just see, because when we did contract with them, we had to get the list of phone numbers, and I think all they did was call them to see which ones we needed to shut off. And then we shut off more because we can do that too.
So do we want them to come at a meeting, or do you want just?
I want to talk to Brad, get his insight on it.
Okay.
And then I think we can make a decision between you and Brad and come to terms on that, as long as that's okay.
And then bring it before the.
Well, when was this due?
It was due probably, like October or something.
How long are we contractually obligated to them?
I thought it was just 2 years, but in his email, he said 3 years. Can you look at that folder that I gave you?
Yes.
Please, thank you.
The invoice was dated 10/24.
Yeah, that's through October of this year. Second phase.
So,
So to keep this thing moving, if you guys find out the best to get rid of it, I'll make a motion contingent on that, which you want,
Okay.
to go ahead and cancel contract. If it's not going to cost us more money than to keep them,
Right. Okay.
or whatever, so I would make that motion.
Contingent on-
Well, we don't have to come back next month, do it in the
Okay.
middle of the month if you want.
right,
Or tomorrow if you want.
I'll second that. Contingent.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Fine.
3-0, okay. We'll get that information together. Work with Brad and Steve and Colleen. Okay, we have a yearly on-call,
Can I talk on that?
yes.
Okay. And I'm gonna take the old man's seat, I don't care. Some of them young ones stand. What I'd like to say on this is I have 2 bridges coming up to be replaced this year. And without this signature to get them to, I can get my bridge structures designed and what have you. And we're always trying to be 4 to 5 months ahead before actual work. So I would love to see this approved immediately so I can get started on pre-planning 2 more bridges for this coming year that have to be replaced.
Are you happy and content
Yes.
with the services DS Engineering provides?
On this, yes, I am. So that's the reason I jumped in, because you got my name next after you. I'm just trying, yes, I'm happy with the way the bridges have been spec built and done. And I might tell you that the way we are doing this is saving this county a lot of money right now. This may all end when we get bigger and more out there. But right now, the same bridge that just finished on 370 South, we came in at just under 200,000 by the time the material and everything. The same bridge in Warren County, they just paid 370,000, identical, almost identical, because it was open to bid. And by us doing this on pre-engineering, having the specs, having our bridge people figure, we're coming in a lot cheaper than we can do it on an open bid. So we're still staying under the guidelines on each one of them. And I mean, I don't know what other costs are out there on what they are doing, but their on-call service, I've been satisfied with as we need it, so.
And that's what this is?
That's all it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an on-call schedule for what they will charge us for different things.
Somewhere we had a
When we,
listing someplace like on an email prior to.
Are you gonna look it up? This was.
Yeah, it's a schedule.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've tried to do in the past, just so that you have your option of going with A, B, or C.
Yeah, yeah.
You're on call
Right.
to get your work done
Right.
without.
And Joe's here with BS.
I thought you guys might have questions, being new commissioners. Tim obviously was here. We've done this the past 2 years. All it does is allows Rusty, if he has something that he needs done, he can just contact me, and we just prepare a simple document called a task order, which is the last page of that document, that he can sign. And what it allows him to do is, there's no charge unless he asks me to do some work. And then it's just based off of our hourly rates. So we're not making a bunch of money, and we're not charging you anything other than what it costs us to do the work.
And our bridges are coming in well under what if we had to go through all the other hoops and whistles.
also make a motion to do the new fee schedules, DS engineering for 2021.
Second motion.
Favor?
All right. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Now it's food.
Now you're on the hot seat.
Okay.
Okay, we got a serious, by the way, that's, second on my list, Bridge 770, or, County Road 770, and Scottsdale Bridge are the 2 that's gonna be this year projects. So I wanted to get this done so I can get started on
Is the
this.
Scottsdale one right off 136?
Pardon?
The Scottsdale one right off 136?
Yeah, it's just north of it, yeah. Yes. The second thing I'd like to bring up is, 13 years ago, or whatever it was, I set up a contract with Big Art Crawfordsville, so our employees could go there, get their clothing allowance under one tax item, which was county. They wouldn't charge us sales tax, so our guys were getting their own clothes, turning in their paperwork and what have you. Big R's closed. Stock and Field will no longer accept our contract.
It doesn't matter, we're going to have.
They're closing too. Stock and Field.
We're going to have business.
Yeah, they're out too, so, until something else establishes,
I thought we were going down beyond.
we do some,
Okay.
that's 40 Mile John down there and back. We're just trying to figure something else out besides it. His selection is minimal.
Okay.
My question is, and the guys know it, and I can cover is, you take $500 out, about $35 in taxes. They go buy their clothes, bring their receipts, can we still go ahead and do that? As far as the tax thing, I think we're allowed 15,000 by the thing. I think there's enough in there to cover each one of those taxes that they pay on that.
Is that gonna be a train wreck? Can't try and keep track.
That's what I was asking.
I think just paying the employee for a stipend, well, I would have to check on the tax issue.
Okay.
I believe paying them a stipend that covers, whatever, they just have to buy the clothing. The stipend has to be enough to cover, what their costs are. So if everybody's allocated $250, if that's not enough to cover their uniform requirements, then you have to consider upping that. If tax is an
Right,
issue.
but I mean, if they turn the receipt in for $235, we give them the whole yeah, okay. So, and I know there's enough in my budget to cover that rate, I'm pretty sure. So I just want to make sure we're on the record with that, because that may be an issue next year, but.
We're gonna also have a local, hopefully tractor supply.
Well,
because somebody paying for
If they,
taxes, so-
right, if they take our account like that, that's what we're hoping, right? Blair Farm and Fleet's supposed to go into Crawford too, so we'll see.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing I have is, in May, I'm gonna have $183,770.45 greater payment. Right now, my 1176 is running a little short, so, I'm going to need to come and ask you to go to the council and get me some more money, so. Plus my 2 trucks will be here in June and July. Just things that we ordered before they took our 800,000 away from us. Again, trying to be ahead of the game and have equipment and needs ready to go. We tried doing that, and then DGLF decided to pull the plug on some funding. And I appreciate Brenda took care of it, but now we're.
Well, we could just be ready for doing additional appropriation, whether, I think the council of commissioners need to be, on board
Right.
on which funds they want to help you out with your equipment, because
Right.
obviously MDH cannot handle it.
Right.
And I tried to share that with the council in the past 2 years. I noticed how your revenue just was not there. And it just seemed like every year they were just making cuts on your department.
$1.5 million a year before, 880,000 this year, and the year before that was $1.3 million, I think. So 3 years in a row, we've taken it.
And I think there's
Pretty
been some
big,
need
yeah.
on some trucks and everything.
Yeah.
No more yours, so then,
You're on the legislative committee for the commissioners, right?
Yes, I am.
Statewide.
Mhm.
We need to get the state reps and senators on this stuff. This is crazy.
yeah, we were
You're getting
talking
less and less in the
about,
counties.
last week we had 2 meetings and they were talking about changing, instead of 50-50 with MDH restricted and MDH, maybe 70-30. I mean, it was first 60-40. It's like, no, I think we really need to consider the 70-30. And I think that would help you, not completely, but I think it's.
And 2 other things, if you're on that committee that would help immensely, is let us claim pickup registration instead of car. Paul Bowman, right here in this office, heard that, went to the state Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau got the state police pulled out after 2 years in Polk County, picked up $745,000.
I think everybody in the state of Indiana did.
Everybody did, yes, but we need to get the state police back
But
in the
then
general
they
fund.
just do it right
And
back in,
part of it.
otherwise.
Right.
I'll say Jake German, the Barnes and Farmer, he's doing the updates and everything with the commissioners. So we had 2 really good virtual meetings,
Okay.
which I did interact with them. They brought up other issues, with the county, having to advertise their salaries and everything, which I did share with them that we don't. We share, we will advertise the financial report, and that's $400 and $500.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what some of these counties are spending, advertising their $100 for all the salary. We stopped doing that, and I thought it was because state board of accounts changed their guidelines that I was uploading it to Gateway where you could see it, but I also uploaded the annual report too. But obviously they thought that needed to be in the newspaper, you know, which the newspapers are gonna be on the legislators to keep that going because that's where they make their money.
Well, and we basically don't have the code.
Yeah, we have one newspaper,
Just
I mean, some of these
basic, yeah.
counties have 2 or 3 or more,
Right.
and I can't imagine what they spend, because I about had a heart attack when I heard it was
Right, and back to the formula that the state has on that, the difference in, we had 19,000 registered pickups in Fountain County. We have 8,400 car registrations. Our formula is coming out at 84, it almost double what our formula would be if we got the pickups. Any county under that. Okay, I'm off that. Now you guys know where I am. Since I'm here for the sealed bids on the ground stuff, I'd like you to make a motion to accept all of them.
Would you like us to open them first? And then
Well, I'm
accept
just
them?
making a motion to you that if you would like to open them, I'd like to accept all of them. So I can pick and choose who I want to buy my rocks from.
Well, and after we open them, I think the next meeting, we will make actions, you know,
Yeah.
on that, and then I think you need copies
Right.
from the auditor's office.
I do that. I think, one other I do before I get to that. You have Tim, did you get the attorney the?
I haven't yet.
Okay, AT&T, you weren't here and you weren't here probably during the AT&T and my discussion down on 1,000 with their engineering, all those people, and I wanted all their fiber optics, cable, everything moved before we did the work. And our road was closed almost 3 whole months. Tim has visited the site with me. A couple other guys I had with me. Each time the AT&T engineer refused to move one very large cable. We had 2 fiber optics to work around. He said, since we had an excavator with a thumb, we could safely remove the concrete and stuff and not damage our cables. And I told him at that point, that is not a guarantee. He said, you'll be fine. So they uncovered it. They wouldn't move it. They uncovered it, would not move it. When we were jackhammering, the wall caved off and hit their cable. It's a 600 pair, it's very large. When they came down to examine it, they found more problems. And so now they went up here and started and went clear out around our project, but in all new. And that's what they're trying to charge me for, pay for the all new. I personally don't think we're liable for anything because their engineers said it wouldn't be a problem. When I asked for more extension, that thing moved, he said we didn't need to, so.
I did witness that, but we're probably gonna find out.
Yeah.
We should have had him sign a piece of paper.
My fault there because I got property on the signature, I should have had it.
All right.
Because, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
With those, this claim, or.
You want to give up Colleen to scan and send it to Carly, is that?
And copy.
Yeah.
Insurance.
You got good eyes, you're young.
Unless you need anything else, I'll wait for the bids and then I'll ask you to go ahead.
We can do those in the end.
We're gonna do them again.
That's fine with me.
And Mr. Keel, I do have an answer on your right of way. It's 20 feet from center.
Center, thank you.
And now if your question is between the utility companies, that's easier if it's a dispute with a landowner.
Yes, I understand that, and I don't have a problem with that. It's, in this particular case, I had a lot of witnesses asking on that. So that's why I'm not very happy about paying for something all new when I asked them to do it first. I mean, if I made it, then yes, I'll pay it, but that's on them. As far as I'm concerned. No,
He's not.
yeah, I haven't got my signs either. Oh.
Okay, Garth, you're up.
Morning.
Morning.
Did you guys get my email
Yes.
on the proposals on that? Sorry that it was all that. Just in case you didn't. The three, we'll talk about the first one was on the ambulance. We had agreed or talked that we would try to place an ambulance every other year. I believe it's budgeted, I don't know the dollar amount, but it's budgeted for this year to replace. So,
We voted about 160,000.
So, I would like to make a recommendation, we move forward to go to the council with this proposal and get the approval to be able to remount. I have, Andrew, you may not know, or Brenda is, I have a 2010 V10 gas at Portland ambulance. The box is in great shape. The chassis is junk. We've had to replace the motor in it. It's a mess. So what we want to do is take that box off of that chassis, put it on the 2021 Ford F450. They'll go through the box, all the electrical wiring, redo it all, and for that 162,000 in there. And then these other things that are added in there are just the equipment, like refrigerator. We carry refrigerated medicines. The defibrillator monitor mount, that basically keeps the monitor from flying around and hitting anybody that's involved in an accident. Med vault, that basically locks up all our narcotics that we have to have, like stair chair and electric.
Today's micromanagement gone. We hired you to do the job.
The only question I have for Kent is, on vehicles and stuff like this, does that have to be bid out? Does he have to have the state approved?
Garth and I talked about this in, you just have to make your bid file or your purchase file well documented that this is a special savings, 100 new ambulance versus a remount, and then specialization or continuity of equipment. So we had so it's a purchase under a couple different categories. So there's the say you just have to document the file and make sure that you can back up the fit with the chassis, and that's very specific.
And the company that's doing this, actually, that's where this truck originated from. So it came from them, and then they remounted it, so it's all in documentation. Kit and I talked about that, just to make sure that I had to do a bid process, which we'll have all that. And I talked to the salesman, and we've got that information for our file for that. So good question, but yeah, that was something I asked him about to make sure.
Yeah, I just started saying that 150 number be thrown around that question.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
And also in the budget, the council was aware of it, and so they just budgeted 160,000. We just kind of made it work in QCAP development. Granted, we didn't have a sheriff's automobile in there, and we thought that we would go after some grants. And so we need to kind of work on that, Ken, as far as having a public hearing, so we can get the information to grant writer or whatever, so we can get this. I think I could do something on that at the last meetings. It's gonna take some time for them to get that information to the newspaper, so that we can have a public hearing. So it's gonna be February before August, we'll have a public hearing. Sorry, because it's off track.
No, that's all right. That's the first one. I just want to make recommendations to the council. This proposal.
I don't have a problem. I mean, the council budgeted 160, obviously, they're gonna have to.
There's some that's going to be negotiable on this too, so, but I'm just.
No, just.
Yeah.
You know, once you give me approval, I'll send this stuff to Dudley and all the other council members to for review. And then on the 8th, we'll talk about it, go from there. That's the plan.
Yeah, it's in your budget, it's been talked about last year and whatever.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming and saying some things, but other than that.
And they knew that it wasn't gonna be enough money, so.
We're still,
They may have their thoughts.
even with this dollar amount and all that on there, brand new and, alone without this equipment on there, just double check. You're looking at 225 to 260, a brand new one. Yeah, we're pretty solid right now, and this right now is, still we're $40,000 to $60,000 cheaper, if not more, than, buying it all brand new. You gotta go through a bid process, stuff like that, which we can do that, but the box, it's not been out, you know, there's not very little rust on it all, if any at all. In fact, this box, it's a Horton box, it's actually top of the line. I got people right now, if I don't remount it, they want to come and buy it, because there's not very many of them left. So I would like to, you know, hold on to it and put it on another chance. I'd like to do. So then, you know, we need a motion to go forward with it or not. Okay.
That we're not gonna make.
All right, good enough.
It's in your budget.
Enough for me. The other two I had, the second one was, we've been talking, obviously with the CARES Act money and the COVID money, I've been talking with Tina prior back from the fall. Our neighbor, Park County was able to upgrade their heating and cooling system in their ambulance station through the CARES Act money. And it's all set in how the filtering system is in that. So one of the concerns we're having is obviously our Bay Area, you know, was, I think we got it fixed now, knock on wood. Heating through the winter time's not been too bad. It's the summertime where we run into challenges, the heat and the medications that we're carrying on the trucks. There's a certain temperature they have to stay at. And for a long time there, it wasn't a big ordeal, but it's becoming more and more a thing, the concern we're having to have to watch. They have to be in a certain, you know, temperature. And that's in that packet, it kind of talks about where that temperature is supposed to be. So we were originally going to propose put it in a cooling system, you know, an AC unit in that, in the station. But unfortunately, if you remember last year, Tim, we had troubles with the floor heat system. We had to go in and put a new heat exchanger in, new pump. Thought we had it fixed. We started into this year. We had issues with the floor heat system. I've had Williams over, Scott Williams has been over multiple times to try to figure it out. I think he was there yesterday. I think we have figured it out. We do now are starting to get some heat in the floor. But to have a backup system, in case that goes down again, is I would like to incorporate into the AC system, into the AC unit is a heating system, you know, heating and cooling for the bay. With us putting the iWave system and that filtering system in that, prior to, I mean, obviously all the COVID money, CARES Act money is now within, you know, the general fund, so it has to come through you guys and council for approval. Prior, it probably would have been approved through the CARES Act money to purchase that and put that in. I would like for us to look at it seriously and put this in so that we can control the temperature in the Bay system, in the Bay area, you know, especially in summertime. And then if that floor heat system goes down, I have a backup heating, you know, where we don't run into, you know, because normally what it'll do, it'll be 10 below outside when that floor heat system goes down, and then we're gonna have more issues in that bay. So when you look at this, I need to give this a drawing, I'm sorry, I don't have it. In the proposal, we got two proposals that's within this packet. One come from Reynolds, which is located outside of Attica, and then Davis Heating and Cooling. With Davis is giving us a quote on the iWave system. which is the filtering system. And then Reynolds is giving it on the UV system, which is the ultraviolet. So we, by the way, Brad Howell's here. Brad Howell has done a lot of research on this and put this stuff together for me. He came up with a chart, which is in your packet, kind of shows you the difference between I wave, UV waves, UV lights. By far, the I wave system is the way to go. It's kind of where I would like to see us, if we were to move forward with this and be able to purchase this through the CARES Act money. I would like to see us put in a heating and cooling system in the Bay Area. One, like I said, control that if we have a backup heating system and AC to control the temperature in there for our medications. We've been, like I said, I know questions, in my mind, I'm thinking questions you might ask is, we've got along this far, why do we need it now? For years, we got away with it and there wasn't that much, regulations on it. We're seeing more documented, more cases out there across the United States. They are really looking at temperature. And then what happens is when those medications hit a certain temp for a certain amount of time, they lose their effectiveness. Now, there's the question is, how do you know that? We all can sit here and tell you why, but I just don't want to set ourselves up to a situation we get in trouble. We do document every day our temperatures because we have to for narcotics. So we have that documentation. If we would have to put that out there to them, that could get, maybe get us in, huge situations I don't want to see us get into. So that's kind of why coming to you now with it, not coming to you 8 years ago or 10 years ago, saying, okay, we need to do this. Things have changed, regulations have changed on us through the years. Yes, it is, because it's a one bay, we're able to put a window air unit in, that actually regulates that, and keeps it cool. So, yeah. But that's kind of what I'm looking at, is I would like, let you review it. There's a lot of information in here. If you guys got questions, please ask, but, I would like to see us look at putting in a heating and cooling system in that Bay Area.
The BT Reynolds offer the highway system, or he only does?
From what I'm gathering is, I think we asked him, but he didn't really divulge that information on that.
So the difference, it's way right compared, because these aren't really apples to apples. I'm giving you two 117 BT furnaces and two 510 AC units, where his is one 510 AC with one 120 furnace and then two 3.5. It's hard to even tell if he would offer that, I would at least get a price from him also, just to get apples to apples. The Davis, nothing out of that.
I can give that a second.
I think, he's not out of Lafayette. Where's Davis out of?
He serves all Jeffrey. Okay. He's a big commercial retailer.
Okay.
Yes, we can do that. Questions on the heating and cooling system? No. The last thing I have is we moving forward with safety of our guys. Brad's put together a little bit of a presentation here for you. We're looking at bulletproof vest. Or, having bulletproof vest for our individual employees. What?
Bullet resistant.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as bulletproof.
I was hoping it would never come to the day that we would have to feel we have to wear these vests. But I think in our society, unfortunately, it's what we're dealing with. But also we're looking at, I've been talking with Terry, I know Brad's talking with Terry a little bit. It's early in the stages of, we're talking possibly a SWAT team put together in the county. Long down the road, I'm not trying to step on Terry's feet or anything like that. That's a long way down the road, but for us right now, for us on the scene, we're going to calls. We need to look at trying to protect our, my employees when they're out there in situations that we try not to get into, but unfortunately, we can't always control that.
And surrounding areas.
Yeah, it's something that, like I said, I was never hoping the day I have to come to you guys and propose this to you or to the council, but it's coming. I mean, we need to really seriously look at that. And Terry was able to send some information to Brad and myself on a grant possibly, that we can work on that. We need to review that to see if maybe we can do grants. I know prior to today, we had looked into it. I think we contacted Joe and asked him a little bit. Of course, we know grants are getting far and few between. There wasn't anything at the time, but now Terry was able to give us some information. I'd like to review it and see if we can do that. But if we're not able to do that, we need to really seriously look at the funding and trying to purchase bulletproof vests for our employees.
Yeah, because one of the big things is, guys, our crews is good. I mean, Carrie has limited personnel, so they're not always able to go with us. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, if we've only got one deputy on, we're kind of out to drive ourselves. So, and we do run into those tense situations where waiting on them to get there, it doesn't take long for somebody to come find us.
And I'm not going to be the one to get somebody shot because I'm denied it. What I would like you to do is, for one, when I was a police officer, I knew police officers didn't even wear it. They were issued them, no, I'm not wearing that thing. So if we do something like this, I would want it mandatory. They wear it.
And that's something that we would look at. We would reach out to the.
And it's big, but they are put on and take off and sweat in and everything else. What I was thinking, is there some type of jacket?
There's an outer carrier that you guys,
That you can put in there, put on, step, get 10 of them or something, different sizes.
yeah, the
To
outer
where
carriers, you could put your plates in there.
you could put, so it's not individualized, because you have people quit, you have people, you know, those vests, as you well know, are form fit to that person.
Yes.
That person leaves, that vest is pretty much so worthless to the next guy.
But also on the outer carriers, in my opinion, you know, Brad can get one, he can quit, it may not fit the next guy.
Well, but I'm just saying, get so many extra large, so many large,
You
so
can do
many
that,
small.
But what you're going to run into is your plates that you have to put in there, that's going to be your biggest expense.
So, yeah, I'm just asking.
Per person, is that right? For the plates specific?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
it's specific.
Yeah, they have to actually measure.
So we were looking at like full-time people do their own vests. Part-time, we can order 5 sizes and they would specifically be at one station. Because normally we only have 1 part-time, maybe 2 at one station working on it. So we could save money there. But for the full-time people, you have 6 people on all the time. If you have, 6 large size vest carriers, you can't, I mean, that's obviously a little more than what you have, so. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to, you're 14, if you look at the presentation, you have 14 full-time people that we have. And then, so we have so many people working, we can't just buy, say, 1 large and then extra large 2X, because we're gonna have more than the 1 large that we have on hands working. That's hanging on the wall or something for somebody to get. So that's where I'm trying to do the cheapest option, trying to figure out how to do this. So it's basically the cheapest option is getting the 14 vests for the full-time people and then getting the 5 sizes for part-time.
And typically, where I would go with that is your full-time. I mean, if you look at our full-time staff, I mean, they're there, they're not gonna leave, I mean, I've got 7 or 8 people right now that've got 15 years plus, on the service, so I think the longevity of them staying is gonna stay. And that is a concern, because it was one of the questions we brought up is, okay, I, issue you a vest, and 3 weeks later you leave, now what do we do with that vest? You know, that was a challenge we ran into with the part-time side is, you know, part-time, we call them part-time, but they're really not part-time, they're PRN. It's as per needed. You know, this week I may need 6 part-time people, next week I may only need 1, depending on how the schedule falls. So, you know, if I were, and I have, counting the other day, I have 23 part-time people. Sounds like a lot, but all those 23 people have a full-time job. They're there just part-time, you know, so for me to buy 23 vests, you know, would be,
On top of the 15.
yeah, I mean, you're looking
Look
at $50,000-$60,000 for vests, and then those 23, how often are they gonna wear it? You know, whereas the 14, as he's saying is they're gonna wear that consistently. And I don't wanna say none of the full-time are gonna leave. I mean, we all know how that works, but when you look at what our numbers are, a lot of them are 20, you know, 10, 15, 20 years there. So they need that for every day. Where part-time, we could do a couple medium, large, extra large, 2X.
Brenda, if something like this gets passed, how does that get funded if that's not in their budget or sort of happening? This is just me gaining knowledge of how they're gonna handle it on the backside on the council side.
Well, I mean, council and commissioners both have their funds, you know, whether it's CUNY development, riverboat revenue, county farm, seeded. I mean, there is some capital outlay that is budgeted. And I know Dudley and the rest of the council kind of cut some of it because they didn't know how the revenue was going to be. Well, the revenue was higher than what they anticipated and they cut. We can do additional preparation to go after funds to get something if we need to, and if the council's on board.
My plan is all this is gonna go to them and we'll discuss this with them and
And decide where you're gonna pay
Right.
for it, if you can't get, you know, grants. or something.
yeah. No, and I know this is the biggest one was obviously the ambulance, which you guys have been at. The other two are kind of, I think those are discussions that we need to discuss more. But I would like to move forward with those two, you know, the vest and the heating and cooling system in the bay. How we fund it, if we fund it, is we'll work together with the council and you guys and figure that out. But I want to bring this to you because I think it's your information that I think we need to move forward with us on the ambulance service wise. I hated to bring all 3 because there's a lot of discussion,
Well, and I told him to go ahead and bring it,
Right.
because it's things that need to be discussed. He did email that to all of us, if you want him to email it to the council, so that they have time to look everything over before their meeting. You know, that way when he does go to them, they're not, wow, you're throwing a lot at us. So, I mean, if you want to forward.
Yeah, and I can
don't have a problem
absolutely,
with it, I don't
yeah.
know about these guys.
No, I think
That's probably gonna need to be done.
right, and that was my plan, so I can do that. Sorry to take Brad's thunder away, he had a presentation going, I know we've been here a long time.
He
so-
loves this, just.
Thanks, guys.
You guys have anything else? I'll have all
Just get a
the,
copy of it back to them, so I went ahead and ordered to her, so that they have it.
I'll have all the exact numbers of our last year, if they want to bring 4 things to you at once. I know you, I try to spread it out a little bit to you, but, I'll bring all that stuff to you the next meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you guys have anything for me?
I don't.
Talk to DT and just see what his recommendation, I gave you 2 options, and I would ask you which one he would go with.
On email this afternoon, well, after you'll be out here, he'll have it to me by 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
I'll email it to you.
Perfect.
All right, guys, thank you.
Did you have something, Carol?
And how much does a vest usually run, just for one?
So it depends what brand you get.
Well, we were at 6 or 4,
Yeah,
600, and that's with the high power, the level 3 plate, which will handle high rifle, I'm assuming, is that correct? Yeah.
And then it's like common stuff, 9mm 40 to 257. The level 4 plates would be more for your SWAT medics once we go down that route of getting the high caliber rifle rounds. That's what Terry's talking about with the level 4 plating stuff. And that's the expensive stuff. Not all providers would have to have that, so.
you.
Like I said, we'll take care of the quotes on the, get them more apples for you on that. I'll get that, as soon as we do, I'll send that to you guys.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Sheriff, do you have anything?
After all that, no. I will keep it very short. Basically, the only I've got is courthouse door, that brought to my attention. I don't think we need to shut it down. I will be talking with Kenny and Kenny guys also, so that way we put more presence here. We've not had any threats or anything like that, so, I mean, not really a big issue like Indianapolis is going to be.
Right.
So that I still will get some back coming in. Other than
No, I'm sure they would all appreciate that.
Yeah. So, other than that, I.
And we don't know who comes in the front door.
Right.
It was brought to my attention too, so.
So we'll go around.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you, Joe. That was quick, wasn't it?
Does anybody hear from the health department?
Online for the shelf line.
Is Kelly on? Okay. No, I guess not. So, Joe, do you have anything?
Why, yeah.
Okay.
Couple things. I was gonna let you know that, I'm working with the state on a, webinar exercise. What it's on is cybersecurity. We're hoping to have it ready to go by, I'm gonna say about the middle of February, late February. And I'd like for the commissioners to be, what it would be is the exercise will actually, our part of it will be in my EOC. We'll bring it up on web, whatever they do. And I'd like to have the commissioners, I'm going to invite all the office holders to this as well. I'm hoping this will be kind of an eye-opening on cybersecurity. I also have Calvert. So hopefully that we'll have that all set up by the end of February. One of the other things is with the health department, we're working on, I don't know if she's advertised this or not, I'm just on for this week or hopefully Wednesday, trying to get a vaccine site set up on there in Media. So I'm working on it to get that set up so they can be able to do vaccines, COVID vaccines there in Patton County. So that's working on that. One other thing I need to let you know, since I've got all new commissioners, well, pretty much.
Now I have to say, so I am kind of new.
For me to be in NIMS compliant, NIMS is a National Incident Management System. The commissioners are, I hate to say required, but it's required for me to be compliant with it. And I want to ask you to take an online course. So to find out which one you really need. They started out, they had 4 courses, it was 700, 800, 300, but actually 4 of them. When you get to 3 and 4, is the elected officials have to take. I think now, I'm pretty sure they have a course now just for office holders. So that they don't have to take all of these 4, they have certain ones that show what they're supposed to do when we set up an EOC or during disasters. It's mainly for. It's kind of learning what EOC does, emergency management does, along working with all of the responders. So, and if you didn't already know it, you're the last person to come to when people are being disasters. You gotta remember that they happen. So anyway, I'll get that, and like I said, that's an online course. There is a test involved in it. You can take the test a dozen times, as long as you get a good deal. I think they require 65%, something like that. But anyway,
And you'll send that to us? You'll send that to us then?
yeah,
Perfect.
so, yeah, I can help you.
No, didn't you tell me that none of us are certified, you really can't write grants and things?
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Anytime I write a grant, if there's a question on there, is your county NIMS compliant? And for me to be NIMS compliant, you guys gotta be. Sure. So, I mean, I know Craig and Don, and they both were, and I even had the city, Covington, the mayor, he's compliant, that was. But they're supposed to be all compliant to get grants, and if they find out you they want their money back.
Or we won't make it live.
And we don't want to be doing that. No. But anyway, that's what we got going there. I think that's about it. Tina, if you didn't know, Tina, she's on
Chemo today.
chemo now. She got through her radiation.
Thank
Keep her at your house.
Yes, thank you.
So.
Okay.
You got anything else?
Nope, just can't wait to get that information from you.
Well, I'm definitely saying.
You're kind of bored these days, so.
Get you something else.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
I have Josh. Josh, did you have anything?
Hanging out.
It's the camera. That's a speaker too, sorry. Did you have anything for us, Josh?
No, I've got some stuff I'll bring to you in February, but it's more in-person stuff.
Okay, I thought I'd ask since you were on there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Kathleen, did you have anything for 911? I did not. Okay.
That's boring.
Right.
I know. Greg, did you have anything?
Yes, I do. We, as you all three know, I came to the solid waste meeting to request permission to have one of their loadsters, skid steers changed out to a track unit so that I could utilize it to maintain the landfill, both north and south cat. The board, solid waste board was in agreement. I could bring it to you guys to get permission to do that too. And what it amounts to is once we replace the unit with a track unit, I'd also have to buy an attachment for cutting, and I'd like to buy an attachment for grabbing. It's like brush grabber type thing. It would probably come with a bucket, and I think possibly the forks they have would probably transfer over to the new unit. If not, we would have to, of course, buy forks for the unit so that they could utilize it also. Anyway, so I'd like to get your permission. What I'd like to do is have Rusty, the highway department, look into it to do the process. He's buying most of the equipment for the county. So he would be the one to help me find a unit that would work, and then we bring it to you. The next council meeting, I will approach them to make sure that they know what I'm doing and everything. We don't have a choice as far as maintenance goes. The difference is it'd be easier access and more immediate access for me to have that piece of equipment there instead of trying to borrow equipment from the highway when they need the equipment and I have to wait till they're not using the equipment.
And not to mention the unit you're replacing is 15.
That's another thing. That's something else I'm gonna cover here. I talked with Steve and Travis, the gentlemen that are working out there, and they would prefer to get rid of the new one instead of the old one. The new one apparently is a pain. There's problems with it. So they said the old one seems to be durable and lasting and not a problem. So they seem to use it more than they do the new one. That's why the new one was parked in the back and the old one was up front.
Well, don't be bids on a new one that's gonna be a pain that they don't like. Get
Right,
something
no,
together.
yeah, that's what we'll make sure that we get something that's dependable and operational and that can serve both purposes. So that's the reason for it is multi-purpose, so that, like I said, I'll have it on site there and I'll be able to use it and help maintain the landfill, because as of right now, we are maintaining the landfill until at least 2028. So we've got several years left to deal with this.
Can you bring Kelly up to speed, since she's new on council? 25 years ago, we closed the landfill.
1998.
We were supposed to put $1 million away back then, being the commissioners and council. They decided not to. I did. People you don't mess with will save anything. 4 years ago or so, I then found out we did not set that money aside. So they came down on Fountain County, and anything that was wrong out there was an issue. So we have recapped in the last 2 years, both the north and south side of the landfill. About $800,000 or 900,000.
More than 900.
Okay, closer to 900,000. So what Greg is talking about here is mentioning, and we have hired Greg for $15,000 a year. And
As a compromise with IDEM.
to take care of that and watch it and maybe it and report to them. Because the reports they want and expect, there's no way. He's the Martin of the century. He does an excellent job. So this unit he's talking about, is to mow that, but they're also going to use it to recycle it. And it's got to be a track unit, not to mess up the $800,000 or $900,000 of work we've done. So kind of bring you up to speed, you're watching a few wells out there right now, right?
Yeah.
For stuff coming
They've
out.
gone up with the chloride content in the wells have risen. And that's one of the concerns that put the first red flag up, was that they were concerned that there was stuff getting into groundwater from the landfills. When the landfills were originally put in, they were not, it wasn't required back then. They weren't built so that there wouldn't be any seepage into the groundwater table. There wasn't a clay base to seal it. So that's one of the things they're trying to do. If you keep the water off the top, so it doesn't go through the waste, then hopefully over years and time, they say that compaction will reduce the, first of all, it'll compact to be like clay, so it won't let water through it. And second, it'll be reduced in size so that, and that's what has happened over the years, that it wasn't really sort of taken care of. It compacted and there was actually caverns up on top. And we were having anywhere, one of them measured a little over a foot of water that could stand up on top and just slowly work through the landfill. When we worked the South Cap first, when Bell Excavating was running their big equipment back and forth, we actually had water squirting up out of the ground. That's how much water was in that waste area. So since we've done both north and south and compacted them and put the new caps on them, we're hoping that will stop the seepage into the groundwater and that the levels will stabilize, and through time they should reverse. But that's what we're working towards.
And Greg's team the last couple of years, we also brought in Deckard Engineering out of Crawfordsville. They did a fantastic job. Roger working with the IDEM people, you know, speak their language.
It does.
And then Bell Excavating, nobody else even bid on it. Well, and there's reasons for that. To get a bond for that type of work, you better be top notch, and your personal life will be clean, because they won't give you bonds for $1 million if they think you're gonna mess it up.
They want to make sure you're familiar with what you're messing with.
Yeah, he does it first.
Also, we did have to prove that we had the finances to back it up. We didn't, at the time, we didn't have a bond rating for the county. Well, when we did the new jail, we had to go through that process. So the county did get an A+ bond rating. But I still had to do the financial report to prove that we had funds to do any kind of work to pay, since we didn't put money aside.
Since that 1.7 wasn't put aside, we had to show the county was stable enough to withstand the expenditures that were in.
Roger and Greg's help, I put together, and they kind of looked it over and then submitted it. And so every year I've had to do that since.
Yeah, without that money in the side, then we do have, we have set up, Roger set it up, through talking it through on what it would cost to maintain and do repairs on this landfill over a period of time, through the year. We've set up a $75,000 budget that we could pull from to do maintenance on the landfill. That has nothing to do with the recapping or anything like this, is just maintenance for the year. And so we've set that up. So those funds, and I think you said they come from CEDA or somewhere, the funds that you've been drawing from?
Well, rainy day, we do
Rainy
have,
day.
yeah, rainy day, we have some funds in there on top of what is in county general landfill.
Right. So that this, because the solid waste committee was asking where the funds would come from. And I can see using part of the 75,000 to help get this piece of equipment so that we can do the job to maintain it.
Yeah, and you do have around 60,000, I think, budgeted for repairs and maintenance in county general. Now, if you're wanting to use some funds in rainy day, they did kind of pull some of that and to go towards a vehicle. You know, that could change.
We have places that we can pull from to make sure this can happen. We can get this done. Continue to keep this thing. And right now, I didn't, I shared with the last commissioners, the report from the state that we got. It was all good. There were some problems, which we expect problems, but there was no checkpoints, no citations. There was no citation. Just questionable work that they wanted to see continue to work on.
In behalf of Greg, every time he would call for something, we have to kind of give him a 2-day wait on us. And by the time he's ready to go, it's raining. So, and I've seen enough, he does a lot of work. He needs his own equipment. I'm just saying. I'll help him any way I can, but the short end is we don't have much time and availability of our equipment either. But,
I don't think we have a problem with him going after the funds. And I think you were gonna get some things together, bring to us and the council as well, so that they did budget, some money.
Make sure you get a big enough machine. Those sides are too big or what you think you need.
we'll help him.
Yeah, that's what, I think he's familiar with the equipment and stuff, so he should help me make sure we get what we need and what we can utilize.
Glad to do it. It'll be going over what? 25 acres?
Yeah, roughly. There's 32 total acres out there that need to be taken care of. Not counting.
And like he said, the tractor machine won't tear the sod near as if it's the wheel machine. And low center of gravity.
It actually would help compact the soil, and that's something we need to continually do. And at some point, I may need to buy a roller to pull behind that unit so that I can continually compact and keep it going down. And then if there's a low area, I could use that unit to get some more fill and put on top. Because that's the reason we had to recap, well, 2 reasons, but one of the very big reasons was the settlement and then not being taken care of. If I see a low spot, I can go get some topsoil, bring it in and bring it up to par, and just use that unit to roll it back and then reseed. And we don't have to pay a big chunk of money to do a whole total recap. Keep the crown.
Yeah.
Greg, just the threshold for the equipment purchasing and any the quote process is 50,000. So if you estimate the equipment would be less than 50, then you have authority to get phone quotes or get quotes whenever you want. Estimate will be over that, and then there's a little more formality for purchasing that equipment.
It'll be.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we'll probably, that's why I'm working with him, because he does that stuff, so.
It'll be.
He'll know the process, so I'll work with Rusty.
More than that, will be probably more than the machine itself. So we'll get it taken care of.
I'll bring, you'll see. But that's all I had. I just want to make sure you're up to date. You didn't have a problem. I'll get to the council to bring them up to speed. And Rusty and I will work on getting them up.
Thank you.
And the fact that we're gonna use the new unit to trade in instead of the old. And we're gonna take the tires off, because it's brand new tires, as everybody saw, it's brand new tires. So when we do trade the machine in, it'll have the old tires on it, so we don't lose that cost. Because they can still use it on the other machine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything else? If not, yes.
Do you have any idea when we're gonna get the vaccines?
Well, Joe was just talking about the vaccines available from the health department. I noticed they've
Oh,
already got
really?
one.
Yeah.
They did 100.
Yeah,
You can go to Tippecanoe, Montgomery, mom and dad's going to IU today.
And you can book your appointment online too,
Yes.
through the health department.
Do you know which one it will be given?
That I'm.
They'll tell you,
Yeah, they'll tell you.
they'll tell you which one they get both. So they'll tell you which one they're given when they're giving you yours. And you get a card, I had mine, and you get a card and everything like that.
And they book your appointment too, I think, for your second one.
Yes,
When
they do.
when you get that one, you'll get your appointment for the next one.
Correct.
Okay.
Because it's the 2 shots.
Just call it there, you'll have to go on the web, and do it on the website, the state is handling it, the local health department is not doing it, it's set up the sites. Because my responders were calling and there was nothing open. So I called, Kelly on it to find out, and the state is handling it all. So you'll have to go to the website and sign up, you gotta sign up soon because they're filling quick.
And you may be parked in a virtual waiting room
Yep.
to make your appointment, but
Don't leave.
don't refresh your screen and don't leave, because it'll say like 92 minutes, but the next thing you know, it might be 45 minutes right away.
It changes. It's like-
So what is the website?
You'll have to call up there and get it, and they'll have to
I
see the
actually
link.
have it.
You have it,
I
okay, good.
actually have it.
Perfect.
Since you goes to the website, she was the health department website.
It may be, yeah,
They have a link.
yeah, they should have a main
They
link.
do, they have a link. If you go to the health department website, fwhealth.org,
I still don't know the thing.
Okay.
and then they have a link. You just click on it and it'll walk you through it.
Thank you.
And they are given at the senior center in Williamsport.
And we're gonna open up another one.
Yeah,
We're working on that.
yeah. But currently, right now, I think that's the only place.
Yeah, right now, that's the only place in Fountain Warren County, but we're opening up a new one in Fountain County. Joe's, in fact, that's probably why he left. He went to work
It's
with
the
Scout.
church, you just asked for 2 signs for it, it's like church right off 136.
Right, in Petersburg.
In Petersburg,
In
yeah.
Petersburg. So they're setting up another site. Yeah.
I think that's what he said, it was Sterling, yeah.
So they're setting up another site for them, they went to get it set up. But she's looking for volunteers too.
I'm passing around a quote from Cardinal for a new copier in the auditor's office. In December, the copier we had in between the treasurer's office and the auditor's office, that's where we usually scan a lot of documents. When you have 5 people working in an office, you need 2 copiers, 2 heavy duties. So there's a proposal for Colleen for another copier, and I worked in there for 8 years, and 2 are needed. When you have deeds coming through like you do, HRs and their payroll, claims, just, it's busy nonstop. The contracts that come through,
Do you have a budget in there?
she does have, some money budgeted, but I think we have to do an agreement or something. We have to approve that.
I'll make a motion to work with Cardinal on new copier.
Which year?
I like to have the more expensive one, just because
She'd
it's
like to purchase
like what we
it.
have.
Yeah,
And I want to purchase it outright, that way we don't have to pay a monthly fee.
$4,300.
No, it's 59.
59.25, and see, so budget line that she can move around to make it work. And I think she just needs our approval on this so that she can get it. And then she'll ask, transfer money if you need
Yeah,
to.
we need to transfer probably.
I mean, it'll be minimal what you have. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Okay, thank you. I don't have anything else, so I guess we can move on to the sealed bids at this time.
Can I ask one thing before you do that?
Yes.
No.
In the last 8 years or so, all the equipment bought through Fountain County is title commissioners.
Yes.
So you guys need to have a sale because my junkyard is full.
And we are aware of that.
Okay.
So if you can get your list together, so that we know, because I know we have some things over here at the jail that
Okay.
we need to address as well. So until we get a list of, we don't know what we're gonna need to sell. Okay?
I just wanted you to know that you'll have to sign the.
Okay, sure.
I had been approached by representatives from 4-H and Purdue Extension about possibly thinking about donating some of that kitchen equipment to the 4-H grounds.
Oh, like the ice machine and refrigerator?
Refrigerator, dynamic one, and blah, blah, blah. I mean,
The scope is good too.
hard to tell what you get an auction, probably little or nothing. So I can
That wouldn't
actually,
be a bad purpose for it.
Yeah.
That'd be a good purpose.
That'd be a great place to put all of
even your stuff.
them. Okay.
And while we're on Purdue or Fairgrounds, we have some flower pots that aren't. They're on private property in Fountain County. What should we do about that?
I didn't hear that, I was trying to get my friend.
He's talking about flower pots.
We have flower pots.
I don't wanna hear about
on
flower
private property in Fountain County, we have a county property.
I know, because I pretty much said they were not to go off the trailer, but who am I? Who was I at that time?
Yeah, no, I did too. They originally, so there wouldn't be an argument or a fight like this. They were originally just going to go to the river pile of county highway, which is what they came over that morning to do. Well, we pull up and there's a trailer and a truck here with this, actually a forklift also, that took them and placed them up Shawnee Township. And I've had people constantly ask me, what's happening?
Well, if the cost of a sale would exceed the value, so if we had the bid or, it's county property, so you just have to make that determination. If you believe it's junk, then you just need a junk, which means the costs outweigh what you receive for it. And you can make a motion to surplus it, declare it as junk, and then you can dispose of it however you want. If it does have a value, then you've got advertising costs, so your threshold is $400 or $500.
Well, I think what we want is just to take them to the original place it was supposed to be taken. Now, whether that's our,
As long as you're not giving it away, or you can move it.
because we were originally taking them to the 4-H grounds, in front of the building. All three of them,
As a donation.
as a donation. And that's what Joe needed, because those were all federal money.
Because I think the concern was we would get in trouble for.
And I did approach Craig Stalter about 6 months ago at a meeting and say, why haven't they been moved to the 4-H ground? I don't want to rock my yard up. Well, there were plenty of dry days in between here and then, like I said, so. But anyhow, all I want is that it's going to be moved to the fairgrounds. Now, who moved them or who has the authority to move them?
I know it's just flower pots, but word gets out to the community where those are sitting at. Know what his capacity was here with this county. It's not gonna sit well and bode well with other residents. And I know it's principle, but the principle, the fact is that he knowingly took those off the county property that they were bought with county funds or federal, yes. So legally, what do they have the right to do? What does he have the right to do?
It's the county property. So we could go in it if we wanted to. Okay, we'll talk,
We need-
we'll talk.
We need to get notice first that we're coming
Yeah,
in.
I would give them this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, let's open the sealed bids. Okay, are we good to move on?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
I think in the past, we've said who it was from, and if there was a list of prices or something, then I know Bonnie would compile the minutes and everything.
Okay. So it looks like we had two things that went up to bid, tile and sewer pipe, and gravel, stone, and riprap. So I'm not sure what we're going to get things in, or people combine them or whatever, so.
And we're probably gonna have some quotes in there for hauling too, we didn't ask for it. And people come in, so we don't use hauling, so be it.
First one is from Silicon.
And to let you know, that's about, and tell what it's for, whether it's what product it is, culverts or whatever. And then we don't, we in the past,
We just
accept them all.
accept them, and then the next meeting, we usually will make a motion or something to allow the highway superintendent to get whatever from
Yeah.
whomever.
Set them all.
he sees fit.
that way during the year, he can do whatever he wants.
It's not limited. And I know in the past, I've always sent that binder.
And Rusty, if you want, if he reads it, you know what they're doing, what they're selling. Just speak it up, so that way they'll know what they're.
Who do you say it's from?
Silicon.
Yeah, it's mostly bridge railing and some pipes and some other stuff.
So
Travis will know more than I will on this.
Drainage materials, yeah, if you both want to come up, and prices just as needed on a quantity basis. And
Yes.
And there's line items.
Yes, and I know that those have already gone up this year,
Yeah, I mean, there's pages of.
from what I had
That's
last
why
year.
you can't read
Yeah,
them
you
all.
can't read all of it.
Right, so it's a matter of us doing our shopping, with you giving me 18 different places to shop.
Do I need to know that they have all their paperwork, include their AA documents or liability? Do I need to publicly note that?
I think technically, you need to probably take, I mean, how quickly we need to be able to start buying from the bidders? How quickly we need to start buying from these sources?
We're still doing it today, I mean,
On
we're
the
stone
open
down,
bids?
yeah, we're hauling stone and.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if we're accepting all, I mean, usually when you have a bid opening, you take them under advisement to make sure what bids are, whether they're responsive, whether they answered all the questions and submitted all the correct documents.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I think you could, with this, you could have a motion to accept all the bids contingent on the highway director's review of responsiveness.
Sure.
I'll
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Three,
Yeah, typically that's what we go through when we open bids.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
documents are included.
Yeah.
Check.
all that.
And then next month you'll, yeah, okay. That's good. $30,000 check in the opening that you cut it.
Ross, you know you're joking because it's cash.
Well,
You gotta take on the news. And he's like, you gotta pick one.
We have counts here, don't be talking about
I'll take those checks if there's any. That's right, we can take them something back together.
You gotta have some people.
I've done that before, I throw something away, I didn't know why I did it, I did it because it looked like a chunk. And I threw it away.
Okay, next is from E3 Bridge.
We call those upside down hog houses.
That's right. This is gonna be for the bridge as needed also on quantity basis.
as per bid. I usually have those bids, so I have an idea between concrete work versus replacement versus something else that we come up with. That's good, kind of.
Next bid is from the Harris Stone Service.
Harris, yeah.
And they have price lists included per ton on different types of stone.
Right.
On quantity basis.
Should be rip wraps and 53 twos. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you just go like that. Like that.
Okay, next one. It's from Park County Aggregate.
Right.
Price sheet is attached on the as needed basis quantity, price sheet quantity.
That's my understanding. There's a thing you guys have to all sign, and send back to them. Is that correct?
The next bid is for gravel, also from Conrad Terry Company. On a quantity basis and price. These are attached.
Usually have more of a gravel than it is a stone.
The next bid is for supply aggregate. Bidder is Lincoln Park Stone.
Lincoln Park.
On as needed basis, pricing is attached.
Lincoln Park's down out of Putnam County. But it's their prison. Well, they've got two gravel. They should have two different gravel.
They do, okay, so that was, I got one from Lincoln Park, the second one from SMGS.
Yes.
Okay. With pricing attached.
Right. There's, same company, different places.
Got it. Next bid is for the ultimate steel furnace. Bidder is Whitesville Mill Service.
I can put it in there.
We wanted to have a public meeting to do the open with pricing attached.
Yes, appreciate it.
The next one is from St. Regis Culvert. For corrugated steel pipe, structure plates, aluminum boxes, culvert liners, etc. The pricing is on an as-needed basis, and pricing is attached.
A lot of the pricing on those things, where the catch comes in on most of them is shipping. And you're gonna see several, like if you need one pipe to pay, the shipping cost is tremendous. So if you bundle, some of them have free shipping. So that's what you gotta look at, what the shipping fees are on most of these contracts. That's the biggest hidden, not hidden, but factor involved, whether you want to order a pipe over here or pay few hundred from the shipping. Price may be the same, but shipping.
The next bid is for the gravel, stone, and riprap from US Aggregates.
Yes.
At new basis. And, actually, it's for specific quantities, but.
Right.
And the price is attached.
Well, they only have certain things that we can get from them.
Okay.
One is pea gravel and sand, is Travis. So that's why it's specific how much you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta take a minimum, I think.
Okay.
And that's what we use on chip seal and mix our salt sand with. If we didn't get that, that's what.
Sand from West Lebanon for the thing, because it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's like basic sand problem.
Right. And it won't freeze up and clog up spreaders. That's why we get what's left. It's fine.
Next bid, is for bridge decking from E&H Bridge.
E&H, okay.
Injury.
Yeah.
Pricing is attached as needed basis.
Right. That looks like an attorney thing.
This looks like something.
For a new culvert being put in by the state of
This is
Indiana.
from the, yeah, and it's for the transportation, not bidding.
Right. Should have been another.
Looks like the same thing.
It is.
Second one.
Is that on that railroad track stuff? Railroad track?
So what, does Rusty need that stuff?
That's not the railroad track.
Yeah.
He's got it. I gave it to him.
Probably the north, the south of the, or just south of the north junction of 136, they're gonna tear that out, put in a new culvert, I think.
Right, and
Yeah.
then there's,
The one they put in is,
right.
I
I
got
gotta
two
replace what they
notifications.
put in again, and then up on 341, right by Wally Hope's house.
Oh, they're gonna fix that one too.
On the southern, yeah. That's the fourth time.
I feel it every time I go by.
Next bid is for gravel.
Yep.
From Road. Price is attached.
That's strictly gravel, right?
Yes. Strictly gravel. Road is gravel pit, yes. The next bid is for the hauling services of aggregate from the house. Pricing sheet is attached on an as needed basis. Okay, the final bid is for, Island Sewer Pipe from, Denco Metal Culverts.
For example, that gives us a good shipping deal. If it's one or more, excellent shipping prices.
And they have attached pricing.
Yeah.
Well, since the motion's already made, the second to accept the bids, and we'll respond at the next meeting.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Remember that. Anything else?
No, I'm done.
If not, I think we're finally done.
Yeah.